listening to the Digitally Irresistible podcast, where we cover the optimization of digital technologies and irresistible people. Brought to you by iCore. Each episode features someone who sheds a little more light on the ins and outs of delivering a great employee and customer experience that has a measurable impact on the business. And now, here's today's guest. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Digitally Irresistible podcast. I'm your host, Bernie Borges. Today's guest is Sandy Coe. Welcome, Sandy.
Hey, Bernie. Thank you so much for having me today on your show. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being here, Sandy. I'm looking forward to our conversation. And Sandy, you are the founder and principal of CCWomen. CCWomen's purpose is to support, celebrate, and connect women and allies. Your mission is to revolutionize the customer contact industry through community, one woman at a time. I love that. And CCWomen is part of CMP, Customer Management Practice. CMP is the analyst, advisor, and industry network for all things customer management with a focus on customer contact and design and innovation. Sandy, on this episode, I'm excited to discuss CCWomen Network, how it got started, and the great opportunities that it offers to women in the customer contact industry. But first, Sandy, let's begin with your backstory. Tell us your backstory. How did you get to where you are today?
Absolutely excited to share some of my background story to where I came from and where I'm at today. I started at Rutgers with a major in music education. I've always loved music. I saw my ESL teacher from elementary school playing the clarinet. Always wanted to play the clarinet. It's a weird obsession for like a third grader, but I decided to pursue my passion for music and went to school for music education. But I quickly burned out as a teacher. And so I decided that even though I love music, I love teaching and I love being a teacher, and kudos to all of the teachers out there. Truly, it's a difficult job, but really wanted to pursue something else in my career. And I've always loved event planning. I am very much type A, love organization, love details. And I was involved in the student government at Rutgers while I was a student there and planned events. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I can make a career out of planning events. So I decided to switch my career and follow my other passion, which is event planning and organization. So I did that. I had several jobs where I was event planning, and it was great. It was fine. And I did everything that I love to do. However, it always just kind of felt like a job, so to say. Everything kind of just felt like a checklist or a to-do list. And even though I loved it, I didn't feel like my passion was coming through. So eventually I began working at customer management practice, where I started doing more of the producer role, where I am producing the agenda, the event in general as a whole. And I really loved it. I love the other side of the events where I am writing the agenda, finding speakers and finding industry experts to join the greater CCW program. So that's where I'm at now, where I really enjoy producing events for the customer contact industry.
That's great. I love your story. I love how you got bit by the bug, by the event planning bug, and then you channeled that passion into a pivot in your career.
Yep.
And that's fantastic. So you heard my introduction of CCWomen. Can you elaborate on that? Exactly what does CCWomen do as an
Yeah,
organization?
absolutely. So just to go back a little bit, I moved to the US when I was 6 years old. And that time, everything was very unfamiliar to me, just the life and the cultural customs in the US. So in order to learn a little bit more about American culture itself, my family and I really just observed other Korean Americans living in the States. And we just organically became part of that community. So we always had a sense of belonging, or we belonged somewhere, even as immigrants. But when I was entering my adult era, so to say, or my career journey and building my career journey, I felt a little bit estranged, so to say. I kind of felt that same feeling of not belonging anywhere. Even with the jobs that I had, with the event planning jobs, I was talking about how it just kind of felt like a checklist or to-do list. And I just found it really, really difficult to find a mentor and really just belong anywhere in my career. So with joining CCW at CMP, I was able to meet other women, which I've never had that opportunity before. I came to a CCW event and I was producing the event where I really saw strong, powerful women that didn't label themselves as a community, but they all knew each other as a part of the greater customer contact network. So, with my career at CCW at CMP, I knew I had to pursue professional relationships. And that was a little bit more selfish and self serving on my part. I selfishly wanted to see if there are some things that I can learn from these really successful women. So, asking for help or admitting that I need help in an area is very much viewed as a negative um, connotation where it means a little bit of weakness or lesser intelligence. And even asking for help is very much out of my comfort zone. I love to do things. I'm very independent and just kind of getting it done. And also, it's just not culturally common for Koreans to ask for help either. So, kind of growing up in that environment, I never really asked for help. Or if I saw somebody that embodied success, I never asked them for their advice. So, really selfishly, I decided to hang out or ask these successful women at CCWs to grab a mimosa with me at 7 a.m. on the last day of the conference to just talk. To just network, to vent, to talk about successes and challenges. And that how some that 7 a.m. mimosa at an event turned into CC Women. So here we are 5 years later, after my own selfish needs and self-serving needs, it's actually become a community where it serves so many other women who are in the same position as me. So CC Women is really here as a community to network, to support one another, to celebrate each other, and just be a community where we can just come together and talk candidly about all the things, whether it's professionally or personally in our lives, because we have the power to do that. And we have amazing women in our community who is willing to support and provide that type of guidance here.
Optimize your customer experience through digital transformation with iCore. From robotic process automation to conversational AI, we're leading the way in digital CX. Smile with iCore. Learn more at iCore.com. That's great. Thank you for sharing that context and part of your story again, Sandy. And I love how you really connected your own need and
Yeah,
also recognized that you were not alone, that other women
right,
also, perhaps not exactly for the same reasons. You mentioned, where you came from,
right.
but nonetheless, you recognized that that was a common need among other women in the industry. So, talk a little bit about some of the things that you're doing with CC Women. I know that events are a big part of what you do. Why
Yep.
don't you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so absolutely love to share a little bit more about our events. So, right now we have three live events. They're called the CC Women Summit, and they actually take place along the greater CCW conferences. So, we do have three CCWs taking place every year. And alongside the CCW main conference days, usually the pre summit day or the pre conference day, CC Women Summit takes place. And what that is, it's an entire day filled with amazing speakers, experts in the industry, a lot of coaches who come in and they share their stories or their negotiation tactics or things, master classes that could really help all of the women in our community, especially when we talk candidly about careers, our achievements, the challenges, and we really want to educate other women and inspire them as well too, so that if we know if I'm going through something, we know someone else out there is going through something similar, Bernie, as you mentioned. So definitely wanted to provide that space for women and through our CC Women summits that take place. And we hope that everyone can join us because it is a wonderful space for lots of great open conversations.
That's great. And I just want to point out, Cindy, that in the show notes for this episode, whether you're
Yeah.
watching or listening, it doesn't matter. We'll provide a link to the dates and locations for those three events in 2023.
Yep.
So, talk a little bit about some of the resources and the tools that you provide to your members.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to share all of the knowledge that women have, whether they've gone through it or they're going through it. So we definitely want to be a hub for resources and tools for everybody. So a lot of the content that we publish, it has to do with work-life balance or leadership skills and sharpening those leadership skills. Let's talk about salary negotiations and promotions. What does all of that look like? And one of the other things we talk about is work life balance. As women, we not only have a professional career, but we have a career at home too, so to say, where we are caregivers, we have children, we have things that we need to take care of. So we talk about a lot of those work life balances. What does that look like? And a lot of practical resources that we give. It's not just an idea we throw out there and hope that you take that advice, but it's very much strategic with um, toolkits that you actually like can print out and write down all of your goals and work through creating boundaries for yourself to make sure that you are taking that next step in self-care. So we definitely have a lot of great different resources, content pieces. We have spotlight features on speakers, and we also have podcasts as well too. So lots of different content and resources coming your way, and we already have that. But we want to continue to provide that all year long. So, with the launch of our website, dedicated website, we're hoping to give our community consistent tools and resources throughout the year. So you don't just have to come to a summit and get all the information then and there, but it'll be available for everybody throughout the year. So that's really exciting that we want to provide this space and all of these tools for everyone to use throughout the year.
Fantastic. And part of your story that you shared, Sandy, was those 7 a.m. Mimosas, and so that was you networking. So why don't you
That
speak
was
to
you
just
networking.
the
Yeah.
importance of networking and
Yeah.
how you promote networking within CC Women?
Absolutely. So I believe networking is very hard and very difficult, but it is worth it. It is worth every single small talk that you have, or that LinkedIn message you don't want to respond to, or that happy hour you miss out on. It is all on you as the person who want to network. You have to put in the effort, but once you put in that effort, you will see so much value and meaning out of the people that you are talking to and networking with, because you need other support. You need that community, or people call it a tribe, so to say, or their group of women. And you need that for support, for sponsorships, for mentorships, for anything that you really need to continue to thrive and succeed in your career. I think a lot of women don't see the value in that, or they make connections and they don't follow up, or they made the wrong connections, and that can happen sometimes. But I think really seeing the value that I'm getting from networking and just meeting wonderful women who I never normally would have a conversation with, but forcing myself to talk to other women and understanding their stories and seeing if they can help me through some of the challenges I have. It's been a very, very rewarding experience. And I hope that CC Women can provide that space for everybody, because networking and talking to strangers, it's hard. It is very, very difficult. And I understand that challenge. But CC Women, hopefully, we're here for you, that you feel comfortable, where you can come to our events or just talk to any women, and they are welcoming and inviting. And we want everyone to just be a part of that community where we can support each other.
And I'm sure, Sandy, that in addition to the benefits of professional networking, I'm sure a lot of friendships are blossoming along the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's great.
We love friendships, especially if we see them outside of our events, and we just see them connecting or networking, or see like their Instagram pictures
Yeah.
with each other, like outside of our conference world, outside of the CCWs. It's really, really exciting to see.
Yeah. Tell us about the Hall of Fame. What's that about?
I'm so glad you brought that up because CC Women, as much as we love to support other women, and we want to emphasize on the celebration and recognition of women in customer contact. Another big thing is I don't think women celebrate their successes enough or they don't talk about it enough. So I want to make sure that we, again, provide a space for women where we see their achievements, we see all the wonderful things that they're doing for the customer contact industry as women and for the following leaders who are upcoming. Want to make sure that we recognize all of their efforts. So CC Women celebrates all the inspirational women in the customer contact field. And we really seek to highlight all of the luminaries and all the extraordinary impact on that they've had on the profession itself. So we do have 4 pillars, and we hope that each of these inductees they embody the 4 pillars of CC Women. The 4 pillars for the CC Women Hall of Inductee, we hope they all embody the build a stage. It's talking about empowering other women and giving them the opportunities to shine. So you become a coach, a mentor, or a sponsor, and a champion for women in the field. The second one is crystal clear. You're not afraid to do research and talk about some of the really tough topics and conversations. As an industry leader or a leader anywhere, really, you value transparency, you value advocacy as well too, so that other women can succeed. The third one is skin in the game. That is talking very much about creating communities, creating space, engagement, as well as resources. And that's something that you want to lead and lead with compassion and connection and really putting the human first. The last one is ready for change. We talk about DEI. I know that's a very popular topic and it's a topic that's trending right now. But for us, for CC Women, diversity, equity, access, and inclusion is really at the forefront. And we really want to move the bar for all the underrepresented women in measurable and enduring ways. So 4 pillars that we hope to see our inductees embodying for the greater CC Women community.
Fantastic. Love that. Love that. Let's talk about what's next for CC Women.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just I have no words. I'm very speechless, first of all, because people are so interested and they show so much support for the growth of this community and finding that space for everybody, and everybody is included here. So definitely want to continue that membership growth, want to be that consistent resource for women in customer contact. So that's number one, continuing our membership and spreading the good word about CC Women. And another thing is to aspire for each member of our community to really embody the mission and the purpose of CC Women. And we hope that our allies join us in this effort as well too. And the last thing is actually 2 things. Another really amazing thing would be to expand outside the US and hope that we can share the good message about CC Women and our wonderful inclusive community. Where you can come as you are, be as authentic as you are, and just joining us from other parts of the world as well too. We are stronger in number, so definitely want to focus on expansion outside the U.S. And the last thing is we are launching a CC Women dedicated website where you will have consistent tools, resources, all of those wonderful ways that you can network. On a digital community. So that's going to launch in June. We're very, very excited. And then we'll also have a membership portion as well too, where you can sign up to be an exclusive member and get exclusive content and networking events and all of those other wonderful things to come.
Fantastic. Well, actually, that was my next to last question,
Yeah.
Sandy, and that is where can our listeners and our viewers go to connect with you as well as just learn more about CC Women?
Absolutely. So we have a growing, it's fairly new, but if you can go to our LinkedIn and Instagram page and just support, that would be wonderful. It's CC Women Strong. So look for CC Women Strong. You can also type in customer contact women and we will show up.
Fantastic. And the website?
The website is customercontactwomen.com. It's a brand new website that's going to launch in June. So stay tuned for more news on the launch of that.
Fantastic. Our viewers that are watching on video are seeing the website, the URL, scroll across the
Yeah,
screen. And then, of course, our listeners know that we always link that up in our show notes page. So
perfect.
fantastic for that. So, final question, Sandy. We have a
Yes.
tradition here on the Digitally Irresistible podcast. We like to know when you're not working, or maybe I should ask you when you're not networking, what do you do for fun?
I've actually been learning how to play golf recently. So it started last year. And for some reason, I just picked up golf. My parents played golf. So I just picked up my mom's golf clubs, took some lessons, and I am on a journey to play golf and play well so that I can actually be out on the greens and playing golf with some of my other friends that I've networked with who are avid golfers. So I can join them and actually play a really decent game.
Yeah,
So, again, all part of a networking strategy, but I've been having a lot of fun learning it. And it's a difficult sport.
it
That's
is
all
a
I can
difficult
tell you.
sport. I'm not a regular golfer, but I've done it enough to know that when you play golf and you hit one or two good balls, you feel inspired
Yeah.
to want to do it again.
Oh my gosh, yes. You're like, yes, I got it. And then the next one is a dud. So a lot of patience from my end.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's fun. Well, thank you for sharing that. And Sandy, just thank you for joining me here today on this episode of the Digitally Irresistible podcast. I know that I can speak for iCore when I say that we're very supportive of what you're doing and just giving women an opportunity and a platform
Yeah.
to network, to grow, to help each other, to be a bigger voice in the customer contact industry, to succeed more and share those
Mhm.
successes in the customer contact industry, and to make the customer contact industry better
Yeah.
just by everything that you do collectively and then even individually by each
Mhm.
member who is making their contribution, leaving their mark on the
Yeah.
customer contact industry. And you're making a difference with CC Women. So thank you so much, Sandy.
Thank you, Bernie, for having me and giving me this opportunity to share the good news about CC Women with all of our wonderful listeners and followers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Digitally Irresistible podcast, where we cover the optimization of digital technologies and irresistible people, delivering a great employee and customer experience that has a measurable impact on the business. Brought to you by iCore. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast player so you don't miss future episodes.